I've been thinking a lot recently. I'm trying to figure out who's more annoying, online leftists or Taylor Swift fans. Like, is between the lefties and the Swifties, who will make me pull out the rest of my receding hairline? I'm trying to figure out between the two because I think they have similar issues in regard to like most of them are actually all right. It's just that 98th percentile, like the 2% most annoying lefties or Swifties ruin it for the rest of the 98% who are fine people. Like, I think most Taylor Swift fans are good people. I think most leftists are good people who I align with on a lot ideologically. Like, I don't even know if I'm technically a leftist or liberal, probably closer to the side of a liberal by the technical terminology, because I believe the difference between a leftist and a liberal is liberals kind of believe you can fix stuff within the system and kind of like are down with capitalism. And I would say that doesn't 100% describe me, but I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a big fan of capitalism, especially the way it's performed in the United States. You look at all the income inequality and the oligarchy. Um, but I'm saying to disband capitalism in the United States, the country with the number one GDP, the number one military, how, right? That's such a big undertaking. And additionally, what does that look like? Because I have a hunch if I asked 100 leftists what the dismantling of capitalism in the United States look like, I would get 103 different answers. That's my hunch. Because oftentimes I get into these it's kind of heated little debates on online, and I'm like, okay, what do you want? And some people will just say like communism, but like, what does that mean? Like, how? What does that mean in the United States, right? Because if your response to me asking a question is, oh, you need to read Rose Luxemburg, first of all, that you are the most insufferable person on the planet. That's a shit way to make friends. And if you're saying that, well, I don't have to market my ideas, I don't have to make them palatable, people need to come to me, people need to come to me and become more radical, you're not going to get a lot of numbers in your movement. And that would be fine if you were taking very radical action, right? Because I remember seeing this tweet that was like, leftists be like, we can't vote this system away. We have to firebomb a Walmart. And then they never firebomb a Walmart. I'm not advocating for that for legal reasons. I don't want to incite violence on my page. But, like, yeah, there's a lot to it. So if you want numbers, you either have to make it more palatable. You know, we live in the United States where the average reading level is a sixth grade level, and people just buzzword socialism and communism has bad words without even defining them. Right? You'll watch a Jubilee debate and be like, "What is Marxism?" And the guy with a backward snapback hat, because nobody knows what anything means, and definitions are so loose, and we change the definitions of words so much that like nothing means nothing, right? And it's like, so it's like, yeah, while I do agree with leftists on a lot of things, when you say stuff like build community, that's vague, but I kind of know what you're saying. Like, have like food co-ops and farmers markets and food banking within your community and help and mutual aid. Like, if someone needs this, instead of having them buy it, they can borrow it from a neighbor. Like, yeah, third space is all that. But additionally, who's going to do the abortions, right? Because if that's a thing that you think is important, the bodily autonomy of women or a woman's right to choose, that has to be legislated in. That has to be voted in. Unless you have a network of communist doctors that are doing back alley abortions. So it's like, we got to be serious. And again, I'm talking to the 2% of people who are being annoying, who are doing this as hobbyists, who are rigid in their views, who have no game plan. Because I see voting Dem as driving on a terrible freeway with a lot of potholes. It needs to be rebuilt, but at the end of the day, it's headed westbound, and that's where I'm headed. And the Republicans have a freeway. It's headed east. It's not even in the same direction. And leftists are saying, hey, we need to completely rebuild a new freeway. I agree, but we need tools and a blueprint because we have these huge bread tube or leftist creators or Twitch streamers who Like, are they organizing general strikes? Like, you can't just cobble together a general strike in 3 days. Like, who are the big voices parroting that and championing that? The big voices, the ones with huge platforms. Because maybe I'm missing out on it. They're like, oh, you just don't listen or pay attention. Well, then it's not being marketed well enough. Because if I'm an individual who's fairly adjacent to leftist ideology or leftist creators, I consume a lot of leftist creators, and I don't even know about some of the great works that are going on, that's a marketing problem. And if you just have a whole bunch of people who are just like, read more Rose Luxemburg, it's not going to be attractive. And so, like, your fringe group that isn't all that active, you know what I mean? So, like, in regard to like forceful action, right? So, I don't know how things are going to change. I don't even know what the vision looks like for things to change. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. And if anybody does have constructive feedback or destructive feedback, I don't care. It's your right to say it. Let me know because I genuinely want to know without reading. If you tell me to read a book, I'm gonna test your jaw. Don't tell me that. Tell me specifically what your game plan is. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but it just has to paint a picture of what the future could look like, what an alternative could look like. Human beings don't like uncertainty, so help me paint a picture, even if it is idealistic.